The best way to explain what it does is to do one. So in cell G5 here, I'm going to type equals match. It'll ask for a lookup value, and we can just type a word or a phrase, or we can just point at a cell which holds our lookup value. In this case, it's Deadpool. We're going to be looking for Deadpool in the list of movie titles here. So that becomes our lookup array. We hit another comma, and that then asks for a match type. We've got exact match being 0. Less than or greater than, ignore those for now. Let's go for 0 because that's what you want in 99% of occasions. Close our brackets, hit enter, and we get 6. But what does 6 mean? It means it's the 6th one down that lookup array that we chose. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 being Deadpool. Personally, I nearly always use the whole column as my lookup array. And let me show you why. So let's change the C5 to C12, and instead just click on the whole of column C here. Hit enter, and now we've got 10. Why is 10 more useful than 6? Well, 6 relies on us knowing what range we're looking at. If we use the whole column, 10 refers to the 10th row. So we can just quickly use the row reference down the left, and it will tell us which row it's on. So if we're trying to troubleshoot a formula or find a piece of data, that's much more useful. In a small data set, you probably won't see the benefit, but let me give you a different example. If I do equals match, and this time we go for Toy Story, hit a comma, and we're going to look for Toy Story in this huge sample data set here, which has got hundreds of rows in it. So I'm going to click column C, hit my comma, I want my exact match, close the brackets, hit enter, 235. Finding that yourself would have been really difficult. But if we go down to 235, we should see, there you go, Toy Story is on that row. To take it a stage further, we could add a drop-down list to this cell here. So click onto data after you've got this cell selected, click on data validation again, pick list from here, and then type an equals. Now you want to point into our sample data, and let's just pick from here, the top one. If we hit Control Shift and down, it'll get to the bottom of the table. Hit OK, and then we've got a drop-down list in here with every single movie in there. Now when I pick one, it will quickly over to the right, give me my match formula, it'll update and show me exactly what row that's on. So for every movie in there, I can find out really quickly what row that is on. Match works vertically, but it also works horizontally. So if we wanted to use it to get a column index number from a set of data with headers, then we could do that. So let's do a simple VLOOKUP in this cell here, and then we're going to enhance it with the match formula. So equals VLOOKUP in there, open brackets. Our lookup value is going to be our movie name still. Then we hit a comma, and it asks for our table array. To get our table array, we want this full sample data set. So we can click in here and drag to the right, or we can hit Control Shift and right to get to that rightmost column. Control Shift and down will take us to the bottom of our table as well. If we then put a comma, it'll ask us for our column index number, and then scrolling back to the top, we would have to work out, we're looking for studio, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So type 8 in there, and then another comma, and we want our exact match, which is false, so we want to put 0 and close the brackets there. Hit enter, and that will get us our studio Walt Disney Pictures. That's great to really quickly pull back the studio from any of the movies listed in this list here. So I can pick and change the movie, and you'll see that the result is updating there telling me the studio. But what if I wanted to pick one of the other columns and know something like the subgenre or the duration? Now we would have to go back into our VLOOKUP, and we'd have to change this 8 to whatever column index that is. But what you'll notice in here is that I've actually obtained the column index using a match formula. So what I've done is I've picked this sample data as our lookup array, and you'll see it says C3 to L3. So I'm not using the full row in this case. I'm using C3, which is title, all the way across to release year here, and that will give me the column index that VLOOKUP wants. And in this case, you can see that it's got 8. So what I could do is swap this 8 out, delete that, and then point it at this cell where the formula is. Hit enter, and we get the same result. Now the benefit of this, I've now added a drop down in here for all of our columns going from left to right. So I can pick any of my columns. So if I were to pick IMDb rating, you can see now that for Airplane, I've got the IMDb rating. Equally for Airplane, I could get the release year, 1980. Or I could choose a different movie from in here, and then it will automatically update. So I've got a completely dynamic two-way lookup linked to drop downs that allows me to pick any of the columns and then pick any of the movies in that title list. So that leaves us just with one last problem, and that is that VLOOKUP, as we know, only works from left to right. So if your lookup column is somewhere in the middle of your data and you want to pull back a field that is earlier, That isn't possible with VLOOKUP. It is possible with another function called index and a combination of match and a number of other formulas. It's quite complicated though. It's something I'm going to do in a few weeks, but if you can get your head around this, that's going to put you in a really good space to understand that next bit that's coming.